next speaker, before the break, is Roel Heremans. Roel is an artist whose journey has brought him to the crossroads of art, technology, and personal development. Tonight, he will lead us into an exploration onto who will control our thoughts in the future. Roel's life was shaped by a very pivotal moment in his life. His endeavors have led him to create immersive group experiences and ethical video games that are all grounded in the world of neurofeedback. His journey from adversity to innovation serves as a testament of the power between art and technology. Everyone, please give a warm welcome to Roel Heremans.
Like some presentations started off, I'm also going to start with a question. When was the last time you lied? Think about it. Was it a big lie? Was it maybe a smaller lie for a bigger purpose? Think about it. Maybe it was a quick lie to get you out of an uncomfortable situation. Now, look at the person next to you. Left, right, doesn't matter. And imagine that this person knows exactly when and what that lie was about. How would you feel about that? Okay? All right. Now imagine that this person knows every single lie that you made in your entire life. Would you be able to live with that? Would you be able to live with that? About 14 years ago, in 2009, I was 19 years old, and I was a student at the Vrije Universiteit Brussel. And so I remember that day, I just finished an exam, the first one in that semester, and I took the train to Vilvoorde, where my parents were living. I took the bike, and on the way, I got hit by a car at 70 kilometers an hour on the side here, and I smashed my face into the front window of the car, and I flew 10 meters further, and I landed on the other side. And blood was gushing out of my head. And so when they took me into the hospital, they found out that I had 2 brain hemorrhages, a fractured skull, and a broken spine. Now, after a week in coma, I woke up with no short-term memory, no logic. My fine motoric skills were gone. And what is important for my later story is I had something called aphasia. And aphasia is the condition where you lose all the words out of your head. You understand everything, but you just don't have any words anymore. And obviously, I had to do all these brain scans and fMRI and EEG, and that will also come back. Now, during the revalidation, during the recovery in the hospital and at home, there were things that I experienced, saw, and witnessed that I still cannot describe today. For some reason, I was really connected to nature, and I had a lot of these mystical moments. And so I think it was then that I became an artist. And for a long time, I didn't understand, but now actually I know that I had a brain lesion on the left hemisphere, on the Broca side, which makes that I had a disinhibition from the right hemisphere. That's all very technical. But anyway, I think I became an artist back then. And so later then I started making what I call interactive introspection compositions, in which basically with headphones I stimulate the imagination on a very slow pace of the visitor, and I stimulate their gaze and their movement and the timing of when they look to one another. And so I was fascinated by this, I was fascinated by time reconstruction ever since this accident and connection without words because of the aphasia. And I just wanted to make these things for a very long time. And I showed these works in Europe a little bit, but for some reason I kind of reached a plateau, an artistic plateau, let's say. For some reason, I wanted to reach something new, and so I started experimenting with BCIs, brain-computer interfaces. Now, I knew these things from my accident, and the last maybe 10 years, there are like these EEG devices, which stand for electroencephalography, which basically measures your brain. And they're now like in a lot of neuro wearables. So basically, I started with this first device, which is called the Muse. And the Muse is some kind of diadem, I don't know how to say this in English, that you put on your prefrontal cortex, and it measures your brain waves on that specific location. And then there was another interesting BCI that I bought, was the Next Mind, that you basically put behind on your cap, and that would know what you are looking at. Basically, nowadays, like an eye tracker can do that way better, but that's still interesting. And of course, the Enophone, which is a noise-canceling headphone that has C3 and C4 EEG integrated in the headphone. And so I found this very interesting link between personal imagination and neurofeedback, but then it hit me. I was thinking, like, something is not right. I am trying to extract content from the imagination of the visitor. And I mean, being human is somehow having agency over your own head. And so then I was starting to kind of question the ethical realm, the ethical space surrounding neurowearables. And I stumbled upon this magnificent NeuroRight initiative. And this is created by Dr. Raffaele Juste by the Columbia University of New York. And basically, they're neuroscientists, and they saw this coming, these advances. I mean, what we see now with AI and how it boomed the last years. They're really convinced that it will boom like this also with BCIs and neurowearables. And so they made 5 NeuroRights. In a world where everybody's using neurowearables because it will make our lives easier, it will give us some more comfort, we all need the NeuroRight of mental privacy. Nothing or no one should look inside your head or your mind without your permission. We need the NeuroRight for 2, personal identity. Nothing or no one should alter who you think you are. We need the NeuroRight for free will, 3, which is nothing or no one can alter or limit your free will. 4, we need the NeuroRight for equal access or fair access to mental augmentation, which basically means if we have a device that makes us smarter, everybody needs to have equal access to that. And the last one, protection from algorithmic bias. We have all these data sets, and nobody should be discriminated on the basis of their specific brain profile. Now, you might wonder, so this is the last NeuroRight that I just said. Thank you. Now, you might wonder, why do we need such an ethical framework? And I'm going to tell you why. Because in the near future, if we don't have an ethical framework, your neighbor will know exactly when you lied your whole life. So that's not really nice. And also companies will basically know when you lied and what your secrets are and etc. And they will sell it to other companies, etc. So I kind of designed the 5 NeuroRight Arcades, which is basically, like I showed you on the slide before, the NeuroRight Arcade for mental privacy, personal identity, free will, equal access to mental augmentation, and protection against algorithmic bias. Now, I mean, I'm not completely advocating for these NeuroRight initiative, but I ask the visitor questions to imagine why we should need them. Also, I'm going to brag a little bit because one of them just got acquired by Ars Electronica Festival, which is the biggest media art festival in the world. But apart from that, actually, this whole talk was to announce that during the break, which is about to happen, there will be 3 NeuroRight Arcades that will be ready for you to play with. But please be cautious, because these NeuroRight Arcades might do exactly what they warn you about.